Good morning, legends. Welcome along to a new episode of Here's Rodder's Reviews. Now, we're getting into Transformers Season 2, and this episode, this is Desertion of the Dinobots, Part 1. And just to prove how flippin' old school I am, we're in the days of streaming and whatnot, but I'm old enough to actually have Desertion of the Dinobots on VHS. This thing here is as old as the hills, guys, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people watching this video now that have had no clue what a VHS is. And the weirdest and most random fact about this VHS is I actually got this out of the book club in primary school whenever I was a nipper. So I've had that for a long time. That there has parts 1 and 2 on it, and I also came across, and we did Megatron's Master Plan a couple of episodes back, and we've got the whole double feature on this VHS as well. But into the episode. In this episode, at the beginning, the Autobots are with this scientist who has created this aircraft that would be like a gift back towards the Autobots for the amount of times they've saved the planet from the Decepticons. But Megatron and the Decepticons are on the case, and they have sabotaged the aircraft. It explodes, and as the Autobots go off to inspect the wreckage, Megatron and the Decepticons attack another government installation to steal some plans and destroy some plans. I need to breathe in better before I speak words. But during this, the Autobots turn up and fight them off. And later on in the episode, Bumblebee, Spike and Carly are lifting spark plug from the airport, and again they discover military aircraft heading for a hangar on the airport. And they're obviously Decepticons, but they're in disguise as the planes, and Spike is like, why are military jets at a commercial airline? So Bumblebee goes over to investigate, discovers in the hangar there's Megatron, Starscream, Soundwave, Thundercracker, Frost, you name it, they're all in there. So Bumblebee radios Optimus Prime for help, but Optimus Prime and the Autobots are still at the previous government installation, cleaning up after the Decepticon attack and that, and they're too far away to be of any use to them. So he calls Autobot headquarters, and the Dinobots are dispatched to the airport to deal with the Decepticons. Now, they're in a foul mood as usual in this episode, and they don't want to help to begin with. And Wheeljack is like, we really need your help. Why won't you help us? But the Dinobots, being the Dinobots, they're angry. They tend not to help if they can. But when they're asked for a reason, when they're put on the spot, they don't really come up with excuses that quick or reasoning. So Grimlock is like, I don't know, why not? So we will help you this time. So off they go to the airport, confront the Decepticons. We get a great battle between the Dinobots and the Decepticons. Probably one of the better fights in the series up to this point, as far as like physical hand-to-hand combat goes. The Dinobots make short work of the Decepticons, have them defeated, and celebrations start with Spike and Carly and Sparkplug. They're jumping in the air, screaming, cheering on the Dinobots, and the Dinobots transform back into robot form. But Megatron, being the absolute genius that he is, he's worked out, and if this was a show made today, they would have had a scene put in there previous to the fight where they actually take the time to explain that Megatron has made this plan to trick the Dinobots. But this is the 80s, there's a lot of stuff in there. It's just like, we're going to do something that's going to unfold. You're going to see the results of it. You're going to work it out for yourself. We don't have to flip and tell you every last flipping detail of what's going on in an episode. And as soon as the Autobots, as soon as the Dinobots transform back to robot form, Megatron jumps up, shouts in Skywarp, they're vulnerable in their robot modes, fire. They blow up this fuel truck, and it explodes, takes out 3 aircraft, and the explosion is so huge that it blows all the Dinobots into the sky, and they come down battered and broken and in pieces, and the Decepticons retreat, and Megatron's victorious. He's like, so much for the mighty Dinobots. So they're taken back to Autobot headquarters for repairs, and one thing leads to another. Throughout the episode, you start to see different aspects of what's happening with the Autobots and Decepticons both. We see the Decepticons still in flight, heading back to the headquarters, and we see a shot of Soundwave, and his chest compartment opens up and a cassette shoots out, and it's Ravage. He transforms, lands on the ground, and just starts pacing in circles. And Megatron asks Soundwave, "Can you explain this?" And Soundwave's like, "I've got no idea." Ravage ejected, reason unknown. And at this point, the Decepticons, they're still in the sky, kind of hovering there. And first of all, Starscream drops out of the sky, followed by Megatron, Soundwave, and the rest of the Decepticons. They're starting to malfunction. They haven't a clue what's going on. We cut back to the Autobot headquarters. The Dinobots are now fully repaired, and they're trying to, fix the last of the problems that they're having. And the last problem they have is Swoop can't transform, but they recalibrate this thing in his chest, and he transforms. And we get a call from Optimus Prime. The Decepticons are on the rampage again. Send the Dinobots, to which Grimlock pipes up, "No, we're not going to go. We're not taking orders from the Autobots anymore." And the other Dinobots back him up and saying that, "You know what, we don't listen to Optimus Prime anymore. You're not our leader." Grimlock, as they leave Autobot headquarters. Then we cut to this power station where the Decepticons are at, and they're stealing energon as usual because of the malfunctioning that they're experiencing. I'm falling over my words badly here, sorry guys. Megatron has decided, he's thinking, okay, maybe some bad energon has disrupted our systems. You refuel now, so they're stealing energy. They refuel themselves to see if they can sort out these problems. This is when the Autobots themselves turn up with Optimus Prime. The whole crew turn up. No sign of the Dinobots. They've scarpered. They've deserted them. And the battle starts between the Autobots and the Decepticons. But quite quickly, within this fight, everybody involved in it starts to malfunction in some way, shape or form. And Megatron, for once, has Optimus Prime in the situation where he could quite easily take him out. He could have killed Optimus Prime in this episode, but he calls a retreat because their malfunctioning it's too bad at this point. So they retreat, head back to headquarters. So we've got the Decepticons in their headquarters, Autobots back at theirs. They've worked out that there's an element that's essential to their mechanical operation called cybertonium that is now, because of millions of years, been exposed to Earth's atmosphere. It's starting to decay. Without this, they can't function. They're all going to die. Autobots, Decepticons, both. They've all been on Earth the exact same amount of time. They all crashed in the Ark together. We work out cybertonium can only be found on Cybertron, and Spike and Carly inform Optimus Prime they've just intercepted a transmission from Cybertron, from Shockwave to Megatron, saying that he's going to send a shipment of cybertonium over the space bridge for the Decepticons. So now we're in a situation where the Decepticons are on the verge of getting what they need to repair themselves. The Autobots haven't got it. They're going to have to intercept the shipment, but they can't. They're in too bad a shape. They're malfunctioning beyond belief. So Spike and Carly come up with the idea, okay, right, the Dinobots were created on Earth, so they have got no cybertonium in them. And Wheeljack confirms this. He's like, they should be operating at full power. You're 100% right. So they set off to find the Dinobots, to ask them for help. And of course, they find them. The Dinobots, again, they don't want to help the Autobots. They just want to do their own thing. But when Spike mentions the word cybertonium, Grimlock has a brainwave, and he connects the dots. Cybertronium, Cybertron. Okay, we'll help. And the other Dinobots are like, what? We don't want to do this sort of stuff. We want to go and do our own thing. And Grimlock's like, I'm the leader. You'll do it, I tell you. So they set off towards the space bridge, fight with the Constructicons. They're there doing their thing. And they manage to get through, fight them off, actually get to the space bridge, but instead of taking any Cybertronium, any shipments, they actually jump onto the space bridge and transport themselves to Cybertron. So this is Grimlock's idea. Listen to this, more noise outside the studio. This is Grimlock's idea. We're going to Cybertron. Perfect opportunity to get off Earth, get away from the Autobots. So off they go, and very quickly Spike, Sparkplug and Carly discover this through Teletran. They're like, what's taking the Dinobots so long? So they call through Teletran, get a video connection to Grimlock, and Grimlock's like, who calls my name on Cybertron? And the Sparkplug's like, you didn't have to go to Cybertron, you better come back before the space bridge closes again. And Grimlock is like, we're not coming back to the bossy Autobots ever again. So they cut communications with Earth, and the only people left now that can make any difference is Spike, Carly and Sparkplug. So Carly is like, we've got no option now, we're going to have to go to Cybertron ourselves and bring a shipment of Cybertronium back, hopefully along with the Dinobots. And they set off to the space bridge and managed to get past Devastator again. The Decepticons, Constructicons, haven't lost to the Dinobots. They're already combined, waiting as Devastator. And Carly manages through some, tasty driving to miss his giant footsteps as he's trying to crush them. And she manages to drive her car onto the space bridge, and off they go to Cybertron. Final shot of this episode as we get Shockwave communicating over the radio to Megatron. Sensors have detected more stowaways on the space bridge, and in the background you see the doors of the space bridge starting to open, and Shockwave is like, this time we're going to be ready, and he fires and blows the doors apart and whatever's inside the space bridge itself. We cut to the end of the episode, credits roll. It is a fantastic little episode. I really do enjoy this one. As I say, I think out of my entire collection, if memory serves, this was the very, very first VHS that I had of the Transformers that I could literally throw onto the video recorder and sit and watch it at any point I wanted. There was no streaming back in the 80s. There was no huge box sets back in the day. You kind of just got these, just VHSs with random episodes in it. It was usually all the two-parters you would come across more than anything else. But fantastic. It was a genuine treat to sit down and watch this episode this morning, because I haven't seen Desertion of the Dinobots in a lot of years now, and sitting down to that there just took me right back to the childhood Rodders back in the early 80s, sitting with his Transformers toys on the floor in front of the TV, or roaring fire going beside him, my mother and father in there. Good times. Things are a lot different now these days, but that is the great thing about doing this here every once in a while. As adults now, we've got our daily stresses and strains of life, whatever it may be. If you can chuck on a DVD or stream on a show that you watched as a kid, trust me, that's going to bring a smile to your face. It's just going to, make your day, and it will roll back the years a little bit for you. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. Join me in the next one for some more He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.